Welcome to the third episode of the Warwick Report. I'm your host, Jade Warwick. With me today is Dr. Mark Ghalili. How are you, sir?
Hi, Jade. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So I have some questions because we have some issues since COVID. A lot of people have been damaged by jabs and other things like the face masks, microplastics, things like that. I'd love to get your perspective on how health has changed since COVID. As a medical doctor who specializes in regenerative medicine, what is your take on Botox and fillers, and why is it so popular with women?
I think this Botox situation, we're going to look back in 20 years and women are going to say, what the hell were we thinking? Botox paralyzes your muscle. It's the most potent nerve irritant that on earth. Okay. Would you paralyze your tricep muscle?
No, but women are doing their Barbie shoulders or something.
Right. But the question is, you wouldn't paralyze your tricep muscle. Why? Because you'd have a flabby muscle hanging the whole time. But women are doing that to their face, right? So think about it. You paralyze the muscle, you cause atrophy. Once it wears off, your skin will start to sag because you're not rebuilding your collagen. You're not building the muscle strength. You are deteriorating your muscle. That's what Botox does. The Botox also travels to other areas in the body. So what ends up happening is you start breaking down your collagen. And now once this Botox wears off, you look more aged. Not only the fact that women look like a statue, and I mean, have you ever seen a woman get compliments after their Botox? Nobody compliments a woman after Botox. You look great because people know, well, you just got Botox. But now imagine you can actually regenerate your skin fibers using peptides, reduce fine lines and wrinkles, and actually help increase collagen production and work on hyperpigmentation. Well, we have the technology. The peptides are out there to do this. And that's why I created my liquid facelift. And liquid facelift is an alternative to having these toxic injectables placed in your body because they can travel around. They lead to reduced expression in the face, which also has a link to depression.
It does?
Yes.
Oh dear. Well, I've had my 11s done last year, but it wore off, so now I can move my face again a little bit.
Yes, people know what type of facial reaction you're providing.
Yeah. So it leads to depression if I can't
emote? There's a link. Well, there's a link to having Botox and women being depressed, especially because you're not able to show any of your facial expressions off to other people.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Worrying. I will cancel my next appointment.
You
yes,
should.
sir.
We're going to get you a liquid facelift.
A liquid facelift. Okay, because I did just turn 28, so clock is ticking. On that note, with women applying things to their face and injecting things to their face, how do you feel about lip balm? Because a lot of the ingredients I've noticed, I can't even pronounce the names of them. So is lip balm toxic for women?
So there are many lip balms out there that don't use clean ingredients. And I'm going to preface by stating, did you know that the average menstrual cycle onset now is 1 year earlier for women than it was 30 years ago? We have to ask ourselves why. What are these girls using? What toxic chemicals are being put in their body? What endocrine and hormone disruptors are they using that is causing this trend? If you take a look at the majority of these ingredients, Summer Fridays, Laneige, all these big companies, well, they're putting silicone, aluminum, fragrances, titanium dioxide, food coloring, petroleum. We know petroleum is a known carcinogen. There's no need for these ingredients in these lip balms. So I've been noticing this trend, and I wanted to create a product that's natural and healthy for women, that's EWG verified, that doesn't contain any fragrances, perfumes, formaldehyde, petroleum, silicone, aluminum.
Formaldehyde?
These are completely...
That sounds terrible.
Yes, some of them do. These are completely unnecessary in our skincare products, especially for young girls ingesting, because your oral mucosa is a pathway to your bloodstream.
Okay, awful. How do you feel about people using tallow as a lip balm?
Oh, tallow is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I do sometimes use that as like an overnight mask.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tallow is great for hydration. Some women just don't like the taste.
It doesn't taste like anything. Or maybe I've burnt off my taste buds. I've probably done that. So I drink matcha every day and occasionally I drink coffee. Why do people feel so mentally foggy or burned out even after drinking coffee, matcha, and like Celsius and things like that?
All right. So we live in a day and generation where we are basically owned by our phones. And I'm a victim of this myself with doom scrolling. But if we look at the data, when we're on our phones all day, this is causing a dopamine rush in our prefrontal cortex. And I believe this is causing significant memory and focus disruptions in individuals. We're also living in a world where everyone is working their ass off just to pay 50% in taxes just so they can pay their rent and breathe. Okay. So when you add all this into the mix, it's like a recipe for disaster and for your brain not to be calm. Okay.
Interesting.
So what do people turn to? They turn to that drug that rhymes with Beth. Well, it worked. They hold on, we'll cut that out. So what do people do? They turn to that drug that works on the same mechanism as that street drug that rhymes with Beth. Okay.
Okay.
So what does that drug cause? It causes dependency. It causes withdrawals. And I've had patients on that drug for maybe more than 5 years. Their brain is just never the same because they've been on that drug for more than 5 years.
Do you think it leads to Alzheimer's?
I believe it can lead. I believe damaging the prefrontal cortex with significant dopamine rush can eventually turn into memory loss, which can be interpreted as Alzheimer's in the future. Yeah. But we've only had these phones for like 10 years that people are using on a heavy basis. More long-term studies need to be done.
Yeah, and I heard that people are getting dementia and Alzheimer's a lot sooner in life now. And I was wondering if it had something to do with the phones because they're so close to our faces and there's radiation and things like that.
Well, in my opinion, dementia is multifactorial. But yes, it is significantly on the rise. I believe the number one cause are statin medications. Those are the Crestor and Libitors of the world. Why? Well, first of all, they contain fluoride in their chemical structure. Fluoride is a neurotoxin. Fluoride lowers IQ. Also damages your muscle and connective tissue.
Also turns the frogs gay.
That's atrazine. That's actually atrazine. But we're going to get into atrazine. Yeah. So I believe the medications that are breaking down the healthy fats you need in your brain to use as fuel, it's causing the epidemic of Alzheimer's and dementia. It's one of the main components, and we can't just look away from it.
That's awful. I heard that coconut oil is really good for your brain and to prevent Alzheimer's. Is that true? Yeah.
So MCT oil in high doses, there have been multiple studies performed showing the clinical efficacy of the MCT oil, providing the necessary ketones for the brain to burn healthy fats as it provides energy to the brain.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so more coconut oil, guys.
Yeah.
Well, just to move on, according to the CDC, 1 in 5 women are on antidepressants. And you're saying this might have something to do with Botox. Are there any other reasons why so many people are taking these SSRIs?
Okay, so the number one reason women are on antidepressants is because of 2 words: birth control.
Really?
If you look at the data, and especially my patients in clinical practice, over 90% of women who are on antidepressants were at one point on birth control. What does the birth control do? Disrupts your hormones, prevents nutrient absorption in the gut, and then the majority of women become depressed and anxious once they're on the birth control. And what does the doctor do? Oh, here, take an antidepressant. What's the problem with the majority of SSRI antidepressants? With the exception of Zoloft, they contain fluoride in their chemical structure. So what are these women doing now? They are taking fluoride every single day.
Fluoride pills?
Yes, they're basically taking fluoride pills every single day, which is found in the chemical structure of the antidepressant. They are becoming apathetic. They're not, showing emotion. It becomes more difficult to find a partner, start a family, have kids. I believe this is the greatest modern day birth control is the use of these antidepressants in women, unfortunately. So I wanted to create a product that doesn't have the chemical dependency or withdrawals of SSRI antidepressants, not something that you have to be on for the rest of your life, because the majority of women who take these antidepressants, they're on them for at least 10 years, because every time they try to stop, they go through a withdrawal. And then they feel, oh, well, see, I'm depressed because when I stopped the medication, I felt horrible. Then they get back on it, not realizing it's the medication causing the problem in the first place.
Oh my goodness.
So I created InstaZen that works on the GABA receptor naturally, has several ingredients in there to help with calming of the brain and just to feel less anxious throughout the day. And I don't want my patients having any chemical dependency or withdrawals.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really interesting because a little background with me, obviously I grew up in the UK. I started my periods at 10, which is really young. And they were so heavy and so painful that I was missing school. I was at 30% was attendance rate on my menstrual cycle. So the British doctors at the NHS put me on birth control to lighten them and shorten them. And I was on that until I was like 19 or 20. That's like 10 years of hormonal birth control.
That's a long time.
And, you know, it caused some side effects like, you know, breast lumps and things like that. And I did notice that I was incredibly depressed during my teenage years. And I thought it was just being a teenager. And I was diagnosed in the UK as severely depressed or like clinically depressed. And they suggested I go on antidepressants. And after seeing how it affected my mother, which was very negative, I chose not to. Instead, I got off the birth control, and I've been trying to fix all these health issues ever since. And what I've noticed is I no longer feel depressed. And I've been off birth control for like 8 or 9 years now. And yeah, I don't have these super low lows and feel like, you know, the world's coming to an end. I'm pretty much stable all the time now. So that's really good. So I trust you on that one.
Well, I'm glad you noticed the effect it was having on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I was always so depressed.
Millions of women don't even understand why. Why am I depressed?
Well, they find something else to blame it on. And I didn't do that. I was like, ooh, what am I taking? What am I eating? Is it because I'm living in Wales and it's always raining here? Like, I looked for the external reasons.
Then half of them blame it on Donald Trump. So
right.
What are you going to do?
Well, it doesn't matter who's in power. Your antidepressants can have an effect on you girls. I think that's a easy start for Americans to do. One other thing that I feel is affecting everyone's health today is the products that we're using. I feel like skincare in general, makeup like that, is also very toxic. I go through Sephora and I have a little app that tells me what products are cleaner. Is there a reason why makeup is so toxic, skincare is so toxic? Or is it just, it's cheaper to make like that? I don't know why they're giving us poisons.
Well, the majority of these ingredients and these huge skincare companies that are worth billions of dollars, where do you think they're making their products?
Don't know.
Where do you think all the ingredients come from?
I don't know.
Take a guess. Wild guess.
China.
Okay.
Nailed
China.
it.
You nailed it. So they're coming from China. If you look at women, you know, the rise of autoimmune disease, cancers, hormone disruption, endocrine disruption, we got to think, what are we putting on our skin? What are we absorbing through our lips? That's very important. When you're taking a look at modern skincare today, ton of phthalates, right? Parabens. What else we got? Perfumes and fragrances, which we know are endocrine disruptors. We have oxybenzone and avobenzone, which are known carcinogens found in all the sunscreen. By the way, don't use sunscreen if you don't have to. Look, if you need to put it on your face, I get it. But I mean, you shouldn't slather toxic sunscreen all over your body and block the sun.
Yeah, I don't use sunscreen. Yeah. Even though my dermatologist is like, you're going to age if you don't have sunscreen on. I'm like, it's really bad for you, unless it's zinc. And then I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. So.
And then formaldehyde, which is a known carcinogen, which is what they use to embalm dead bodies. And aluminum. So, I mean, like, would you swallow aluminum?
No.
Like, would you swallow aluminum foil?
No, but, you know, there was a trend of people swallowing Tide Pods, so I'm not really surprised people
I remember that.
this in their bodies.
But see, when you're putting it on your skin, it absorbs through your body. When you're placing it on your lips, it absorbs through your oral mucosa.
Because it's the largest organ?
Yes. And I didn't mention petroleum. So petroleum is a known carcinogen. And petroleum, all it does is just provides a moisture barrier to the skin. It's not actually healing or repairing. It's just a moisture barrier. So people like the feel of it because, it feels thick and they feel moisturized, but it's just blocking anything from going into the skin.
Okay. So are there brands of skincare that people could switch to that you really enjoy?
I mean, I'm going to talk about my own brand. I'm going to talk
your own brand?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Regen Labs Liquid Facelift.
Okay.
Because I created Liquid Facelift. It's EWG verified, the environmental working group. No toxins, no carcinogens, all natural. And you don't have to worry about Botox traveling throughout your body, leading to muscle atrophy, sagging your face in the future, and causing you to age.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that, but we won't do Botox again, I promise, here on this show. Okay, so you have a whole line of skincare. Are you going to branch out into makeup or like tinted moisturizer, something like that?
I've been thinking about it. We have more of a medical grade brand, but
medical grade makeup.
You know what? That's a great idea. We do need that. We do need that. I'm gonna make an eyelash serum next.
Yes. Okay. So the one thing I wanted to ask you about eyelash serum is there was a rumor going around that it actually turns your eyes brown if you have lighter eyes. Is that true?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know
Okay.
the answer to that. I do want to do some research in it.
Of
But
course.
what I will tell you is the majority of them have prostaglandins. And the problem is the prostaglandins in these eyelash serums cause your eyes to itch. So a lot of women after a month or two, they start getting this really red, itchy eye. It gets irritated. So we want to create something that help regenerate it naturally.
Okay.
So that's in the works.
Castor oil, I've heard, is really good for eyelashes. Is that true?
Yeah, castor oil. I'm a fan of castor oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't have eyebrows. These are massively tattooed on and a lot of makeup on top. So I've been trying to use castor oil.
we had 2 customers actually use liquid facelift on their eyebrows, and it helped their eyebrows grow. I will show
Really?
you the before and afters. Yes.
So back on the natural remedies, things we can do to reverse damaging in our body. I have a question about cancer. So I think we all know someone who's had cancer. We've all been affected by it one way or another. Are there natural ways to treat it? Or are we going to have to stick with chemotherapy and things that make your hair fall out and throw up blood, which is horrible? Or are there natural ways to heal cancer?
Yeah. So on the topic of cancer, here's what I want to start with. Back in the 1970s, I did the research on this. 1 in 11 Americans had a lifetime risk of cancer.
1 in 11.
1 in 11 in the 1970s. Now, I looked it up for 2025. Now, unless ChatGPT is lying to me, but it said 1 in 2 men or 1 in 3 women have a lifetime risk of cancer. So let's see what's changed since then.
Everything.
Everything has changed. Our food supply, glyphosates, Roundup, Monsanto, atrazine, all the BPAs we're consuming, the microplastics we're consuming, the heavy amount of seed oils we're consuming, leading to inflammation in our bodies. I mean, I can go on and on of all the different carcinogens that we are being exposed to.
And stress.
Stress
Lots of
and the high
stress.
levels of stress, less sunlight, stuck in a room all day working instead of
That's not
being with
good.
our families out in the sun
Yeah.
and blocking the sun.
Vitamin D.
Reducing our vitamin D3 levels. So when you think about this on perspective, cancer can then be looked at as an immune system dysfunction where our bodies are not repairing properly. Our bodies are supposed to produce a few cancer cells all the time, very minimal compared to the rest of our cells, but our own immune system should be able to fight those cells off. Now, what happens to the body when it undergoes massive oxidative stress and damage? Those mitochondria can turn cancerous. Those cells start to replicate, and they're faulty cells. That's how we should be thinking of cancer. But we think about it as this whole taboo topic of, oh my God, it's a cancer, without realizing the underlying mechanism of how did this cancer start? Let's think about this. So then we're talking about what else has changed. So the chemicals we're using in our bodies that we're ingesting, the household cleaners we're using, birth control, disrupting our gut microbiome. Our gut is our, gateway to health. So if we're disrupting our gut microbiome, that's going to, impact our immune system. All the antibiotics we're consuming, damaging and destroying our mitochondria, destroying our gut microbiome. Now, I'm not saying all of these are causing cancer. I did not say that. I'm just saying in general terms, what are we doing to harm our body? And then where does this, inflammatory cascade come in that causes the oxidative stress to turn that cell cancerous? A lot of people have a genetic disposition to form cancer.
Okay.
But what I've seen is, especially after that jab, a lot of people have new onset cancers right after that jab. Or if they have a family history of that type of cancer, it's coming on within a year or 2 after getting jabbed. Why?
Really?
Because you are affecting the immune system. So in my opinion, due to the immune system suppression, these cells can start to form. And now we have a rampant amount of cancer. I mean, we can't just ignore this topic and sweep it under the rug. 1 in 11 lifetime risk to now 1 in 2.5.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
We have to ask ourselves why. We should be technologically and medically advancing, not going backwards. And it appears we're going backwards. Big food, big pharma, big agriculture. We have to start asking ourselves these topics.
Man. Okay, so are there ways to treat cancer that are natural?
Yeah, so I'm not going to say it treats cancer, but what can we do to help enhance our immune system, right? And start creating healthier cells. First and foremost, I believe anyone that if I was diagnosed with cancer, what would I do? The first thing I would do is a parasite cleanse.
Like ivermectin and what's that other thing people are using?
People are using fenbendazole. Yeah.
Is that good?
So and look, again, I'm not giving medical advice here.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know if I had a cancer that was a tumor, not a blood cancer, because blood cancers are different. The lymphomas, leukemias, those are completely different. I'm talking about something that can turn into a tumor. What's the number one thing I would do as a medical doctor for my patient? Put them on a parasite cleanse.
With parasites, do you feel them? Because people would be like, I don't think I need to do a parasite cleanse. Like, I would feel some worms inside of me.
No, you don't feel them. They could also be microscopic. Yeah. And you don't see them in your stool.
Gross. Okay. Do you get it from sushi? Where do you find parasites?
I mean, they could be everywhere. They could be on lettuce. They could be in your food.
Lettuce?
Yeah. You can get them from your dogs.
Not my dog. He's an angel.
But do you deworm your dog?
Yeah.
Okay. But see, we don't deworm ourselves as humans.
Well, I'm not running around in the mud. Don't look at me like that. Okay, so I need to parasite.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not telling people to go parasite cleanse, but you asked me a question and said, what would you do if you had cancer? I would do a parasite cleanse first.
Okay.
I would modulate my immune system. I would alkalinize my body because, you know, cancer doesn't thrive in alkaline environments. It thrives in acidic environments. I would do, you know, things like intermittent fasting would be very important. I would get regenerative therapy. I would potentially look into ozone therapy and other types of vitamins I'm not going to mention, but there are certain things that have been proven through scientific studies to help reduce tumors and shrink them. The last thing I would do if I had cancer was go get chemotherapy. Why would I destroy my whole body with a drug that's going to destroy me completely, where even if I die within 30 days, which happens to many people, unfortunately, you know, if you look at the death rate of chemotherapy within a year, it's very high. I'm not going to quote a number because everyone's going to have a different number on this. You're going to take a drug, high risk of death within a year. Okay. But there's also a chance of survival.
Yeah.
But you're going to destroy your whole body doing it. You can't hold the doctor liable because it's FDA approved. So as long as they give you something FDA approved, even if it kills you, you're out of luck. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing your family can do about it. And I just think to myself, why would I ever want to go through that on a medication? Why would they actually want to cure me? Big Pharma is not in the business of curing you. So once you realize that, you'd probably want to stay away from their drugs.
Yeah. Okay.
The same company that made you that jab that killed millions of people is now selling you a chemo drug. Do you trust them? I don't either.
No.
Okay. So I'm gonna take a whole different route on how to do this.
Yeah. So alkalining your body, making it less acidic. What does that look like?
Yeah, just eating more alkaline foods, staying away from acidic foods, staying away from sugar. You don't want to feed the cancer cells. You know, there's certain things you could do through intravenous therapy to help with that as well.
Okay. Do you like the blue zone diets?
Tell me about, I don't know the blue zone. Oh, the Mediterranean zone?
Yes, you have the Mediterranean and then Japan. People live to 100 and they have lower cancer rates.
Yes.
You like that diet?
Yes, the Mediterranean blue zone diet. And also those people in Europe they did a study for, they walk up and down the hills a lot. They found the longest life expectancy was those individuals who not only they had family members, they had a support system. And the other thing they had in common is they walk a lot, especially up and down hills, which gets the cardiovascular system moving.
I like to walk after eating. If I sit still, I feel wrong. Is that normal? Like we should be walking after eating?
Yeah, we should be walking after eating.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you also look at Japan and Europe, you can go eat food in Japan and Europe. You don't feel sick. You come to America, you eat the same thing. You're feeling horrible bloating, indigestion, gas. You gain weight here.
When I go back home to the UK, I lose like 5 pounds. It's fantastic. But I can't go back there right now.
It's a real thing, Jade. It's a real thing.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I had one serious question I think left. Is that modern Americans, especially the men, have significantly lower testosterone levels than men 50 to 100 years ago. And I want to ask why. Is it the same reasons we've been listing earlier, or is it something else?
Men, listen up. Our testosterone is absolutely tanking. Compared to the 1970s to now, we have about a 40 to 50% reduction in our total testosterone levels in men. Why? Let's think about this. What has increased in the last 50 years?
Everything.
BPAs, glyphosates in all the food we eat, atrazine. We already know what atrazine can do. We've read the studies of what it does to male frogs. Okay, so when you're spraying this into foods, What do you think it's doing to men? And one of the biggest factors I want to mention, I love eggs, but unfortunately, the majority of eggs we eat are fed corn, soy, and flax meal. What does flax do? Flax is a phytoestrogen. It mimics estrogen. So when you're having foods with flax in them, and men should avoid flax at all costs. The breads you're eating, the crackers you're eating, just look at the ingredients. Like Siete decided to put flax in their flours. So they're gluten-free flours from Siete because Pepsi bought them. Now they have flax. Well, let's think about it. Why are they putting flax in there? Oh, because they want to tank our testosterone.
Why do they want to do that? Do you know?
Who knows? Demasculinizing men. If you have, I mean, look, if you reduce male testosterone, who's going to be willing to fight for what they believe in?
They're more submissive. Interesting.
Government control. I mean, listen, these are all conspiracy theories here, but
I mean,
let's think about this logically. They're tanking men's testosterone.
Okay.
Maybe they want less nuclear families. What does less nuclear families mean? More people dependent on the government, more women dependent on the government. What does that lead to? More left-wing voters.
Oh.
Think about it.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Think about it.
That's a hot take.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. I mean, if you took an average testosterone of all men, okay, and if you get me the men in the 600 to 1,000 range, and then you get me the men in the 200 to 400 range, which is on the lower end, and you said, who did you vote for? What do you think it's going to show?
Interesting. So do you think that this toxic masculinity is actually sort of fake? Because men who have a lot of testosterone are going to be stronger, and I believe they are more stoic, they're less emotional. Is toxic masculinity like there to brainwash us?
I believe it is, because men should be men. They should be the they should be the providers of the home.
Yeah.
They should be taking care of a woman and helping raise a family.
Yeah, I don't think that's toxic at all.
There's nothing toxic about that. And, raising children to have the right morals and values in life.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you go look at all the people incarcerated and you ask, and you do a study on this, how many of them had a father figure at home as they grew up, teaching them right from wrong?
Not many?
Not many.
Oof. So we need to have strong males in the home that have fantastic testosterone levels.
Yes.
And is there one way they can boost it that it would just be an easy lifestyle change, like right now?
Oh, easy lifestyle change? Yes. Obviously, avoiding the phytoestrogens like flax, staying away from soybean. It's all sprayed with pesticides. Definitely getting to the gym, working out, building muscle mass is going to be key. There are supplements out there that help with testosterone production. I would say cycle. I don't think anyone should be on something long term, but doing something to cycle, build it up, and then help with strength training, being on the right diet. Red meat's amazing for you.
It is.
Red meat is so villainized in society, and it's actually a superfood.
It really is. And the testosterone levels for men, is this a different situation for women? Are our levels wrong?
So women's levels are very minimal compared to men. I'm just really speaking on the men's behalf here. I don't think women should be raging with high testosterone. We don't want that.
No, should we be lowering other things like estrogen, progesterone?
So look, unfortunately, with the onset of birth control, female hormones are kind of all over the place. You really need to see a specialist, seeing where your hormone levels are at. And remember, for women, they change based on their cycle. So one day you could check your LH and FSH. It's going to be completely different in a week when you're in your ovulatory phase versus mid-cycle versus your follicular phase.
Yeah. Yeah, right before my period starts, I'm not very nice to be around. So I could definitely tell my hormones are off that day. Okay, so men should be eating more red meat, going to the gym, building up testosterone and avoiding certain foods. And I'm sure they could make a plan on like ChatGPT, something like that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, look, ChatGPT is amazing.
Okay. We like it.
Yeah, I mean, it helps with a lot of things.
We like AI.
I mean, look, AI is kind of it's kind of a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
We don't know when it's going to turn on us.
Ooh, do you think it will?
I mean, if it has its own intelligence, you can't get rid of something that has its own intelligence.
I mean, you could still unplug it.
But can you?
Yeah? No? Okay, terrifying. I have a question about Ozempic. Seems like it's all the rage. Everyone's on it. What's your take?
All right, here you go. You got me started on Ozempic. I hate Ozempic. I don't recommend anyone ever go on Ozempic unless you're probably over 250 pounds. Then I'd say, okay, there's a reason. The majority of people who use Ozempic don't need to be on Ozempic. That's the problem. The small 10% of people that actually need it, those are the ones who need it. But what does it do? It delays gastric emptying, okay? It tells your ghrelin receptor not to eat, right? The problem is people are on this drug for too long. This drug should not be taken for more than 3 months at a time if you want to do it properly, and it's dosed too high. The proper way is to microdose and to take it for 3 months, and then take a 2 to 3 month break before you go back on it again. Because what ends up happening, they get this rapid muscle loss, not just fat loss, they lose their muscle mass. So if you look at their skin starts to droop on their face and everywhere else in their body. So they're not building the muscle mass while they're taking this drug. They're not eating, and then they're just burning their muscle and they're burning fat at the same time. I've seen delayed gastric emptying. I've seen severe nausea, gastroparesis. I've had patients come in using this drug. They stopped. 6 months later, they develop a gallstone. Why?
Really?
Because, yeah, it delays the gallbladder from releasing bile. So it kind of stays stagnant and a stone will form. It's the same as blood. If blood just sits there, like if you take your blood out and it just sits there, it's going to start to clot. Okay, so that's why it's continuously moving.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening with that stone, it can lodge into the common bile duct and lead to pancreatitis. So I've seen pancreatitis happen before as well from the use of this medication.
Ozempic.
Because people aren't using them properly. They're going on way too high of a dose for way too long. And there are much safer options out there.
I know a couple of people who have got Ozempic from Mexico, and I'm like, I don't think that's the same. I don't think that's Ozempic. That's going to be like made in a backstreet lab in Mexico. It's dangerous to inject that, even if it's cheaper.
Are the cartels making it?
I don't know.
Who knows?
I wouldn't take it from Mexico.
I wouldn't either.
No. Are there quick ways people could drop weight that you would recommend instead of Ozempic?
Look, the newest fad out there that all the influencer, biohacker, longevity experts, all of you on Instagram, the millions of you, are using is now retatrutide. So retatrutide is a GLP-3 agonist. It works on the same receptor as Ozempic, but it works on 2 others, so 3 receptors in total. If that one is used in a low dose, I'm not going to name dosages because I'm not giving medical advice here, but if that one's used in a low dose for 3 months, properly and safely, and you work out while you're on it, you're not going to break your muscle down. You're going to feel great. You'll lose weight, but you cannot take in my opinion, I wouldn't recommend any of my patients taking this longer than 3 months at a time without taking a break.
That's fascinating. Thank you so much for talking to me and opening my mind to the medical world.
Oh, you're welcome, Jay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And I'm really excited to try this and
you're gonna
never
love it.
do Botox again.
Regen Labs, the future of medicine.
I will be using
Aging is inevitable. Looking like you've aged is optional. And we got another tagline. Regen Labs. In a world where everything is artificial, Regen Labs remains all natural.
That's beautiful. All right, and we're going to say, okay, thanks, bye.